And this is a good time for self-reflection, because our da'wah should not be so externally motivated. Oftentimes people get seriously affected by the fact that I can't do external things that people recognize. Then perhaps I should also look at the condition of my heart.
Many sisters want to get involved in the dawah, aside from homeschooling, all this stuff. In general, how would they even go about starting right now? I know, like, for a lot of sisters that I was working with in the dawah, they started feeling very anxious about the fact that they weren't able to be a part of many programs anymore. You know, they're so used to putting on big conferences, executing big events, monthly massages events. They're so used to doing all this stuff. And they really felt like, I don't feel like I'm contributing to the dawah. Now I think I should just stop. This was actually some of the comments from some of the sisters. It's just their mental state has become this way where they feel like they're just useless. They have nothing to offer anymore, which is very alarming, because who knows if they're ever going to kind of come back in, because life is going to take over. So what are your suggestions there?
This is a real issue, and I think every community faces it, subhanAllah. But just to kind of comment on what you've mentioned, sister, there are two parts of the da'wah. Da'wah during normal times, wherein you can take part in conferences and participate in that way. And there are other times you can't do that, so you have to kind of diversify. What I mean by that is looking at the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So there were phases where they were very public and open with that da'wah, which we can kind of correlate with, programs that are public and active and social. And then there were times where they were really to themselves, where they had time to kind of build and focus on themselves. What we tend to look at as being da'wah, we think only that I have to go out and do something in public, when in fact, part of the da'wah is to solidify yourself in your faith, in your deen. So I look at this, and we have to be positive over here. Yes, the pandemic has come, but inshallah, it's just for a short time, and it will be lifted bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. It's all in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The time that you have right now, look at it as a gift from Allah. So you're looking at this time positively and thinking how best I can, improve myself in the time that I have, so that inshallah, when things do come back to that normal, I can contribute in a much better way. So fill your time, get yourself involved in a certain ilm circle, or to take a book and read. I can tell you right now, it is very difficult, but very rewarding. So if someone can get themselves in that condition, in that state, where they're reading and learning as they would if they were in the university, or in a halaqat ilm, a session that would be held in the masjid, where you're taking notes, and or even with the ilm circles that NYM establish. So just be part of that, where you're taking something and breaking it down. I think that would truly be the best thing. So look at it as a gift from Allah, a time to kind of turn off, focus on yourself, and then afterwards, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that time would come.
JazakumAllahu Khairan, Shaykh. I like what you said when find the good in everything, and that's from the hadith also of Rasul that everything is khair for the moment.
Yes, of course.
It's all good for the moment. If something good happens to them, he's thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's good for him. And if something harmful happens and he has to be patient with it, then that's also good for the moment. So every situation, you have to find the goodness within it. And this is a good time for self-reflection, because our da'wah should not be so externally motivated. Oftentimes people get involved or excited when there's a lot of action and excitement going on. And so that's also a time to pause and reflect. If I'm getting seriously affected by the fact that I can't do external things that people recognize, then perhaps I should also look at the condition of my heart, because we know the signs of sincerity is to call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the middle of the night by yourself when no one else is watching or looking. Yeah. Having those secret acts of ibadah, to give with your right hand so secretly that your left hand doesn't know. So as the Shaykh mentioned, in that vein of self-development, reflection, working on yourself, this is a beautiful prime time, because we need intelligent, critically thinking sisters, we need talented sisters, we need knowledgeable sisters to meet the challenges that we're facing. And you can't do that if you don't focus on yourself. I believe, I don't know the exact numbers, Sheikh, but someone was talking about how physicists talk about the billions of years it cost the sun to form. And what they said was that the time it took for the sun to form was 3 times more than the light that the sun will give off. It took longer to form than the light it will give off, So I think we will be more effective with your da'wah and what you do in any sphere. And, they say necessity is the mother of all inventions. So the pandemic might open different avenues for different sisters in different ways that you didn't see possible. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open that door. And especially if your heart yearns for it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide you the path for that. And I'll leave you with a saying, and I shared it with the brothers earlier, where, you give a woodsman, or in this case, a woodswoman, 4 hours to cut a tree. She should spend 3 hours sharpening the axe. You know what I mean? So you hit something with a dull axe, you haven't really invested in the tools that you're going to be using. But if you invest in those tools, then you're going to be far more effective in what you do.
Jazakallahu Khairan, Sheikh Murad and Dr. Saeed. That is excellent advice.
Addressing real issues with real solutions with real Muslim communities living in the West. Join the Life Out Podcast family as we go beyond the theoretical. To connect with us, go to youtube.com/Dr. Saeed and support us by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. For more reminders, follow us on Twitter at life_haq.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.